Good morning, everyone, and welcome. I am Dr. S.K. Singh, and I'm pleased to have you here today. We will be discussing an important topic, an overview of the U.S. FDA Form 483. This presentation will cover the key aspects of what Form 483 is, its significance, and how it impacts compliance. Over the next few slides, we'll walk through the main points you need to understand. Let's get started. Welcome to our overview of the U.S. FDA. The Food and Drug Administration, or FDA, is the key agency responsible for ensuring the safety and efficacy of a wide range of products. They regulate drugs through the Center for Drug Evaluation and Research, or CDER. For biologics, like vaccines and blood products, they operate under the Center for Biologics Evaluation and Research, known as CBER. Medical devices, such as implants and diagnostic equipment, fall under the Center for Devices and Radiological Health, or CDRH. Additionally, the FDA oversees food products and cosmetics to make sure they are safe for consumers. Now, the authority the FDA has to do this comes from the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act, often called the FD&C Act. This legislation gives the FDA the legal power to oversee and enforce regulations across these industries. One of their critical functions is conducting inspections to verify that manufacturers are following current good manufacturing practice, or CGMP. This means making sure products are consistently produced and controlled according to quality standards, which is essential for consumer safety. Overall, the FDA's role is central to maintaining public health by regulating these products effectively and ensuring compliance through inspections and legal authority. This foundational understanding sets the stage for appreciating how the FDA maintains safety and quality across these vital sectors. So let's talk about what FDA Form 483 actually is. Essentially, it's a document that details inspectional observations made by FDA investigators. These observations are noted when they see conditions that might be violations of the FD&C Act or current Good Manufacturing Practice Regulations, or CGMPs. It's important to understand that the Form 483 is issued at the end of an inspection or during the close-out meeting with facility management. Think of it as a preliminary report, not a final judgment. It highlights areas that might need attention, but doesn't mean that violations are confirmed yet. The key point here is that Form 483 serves as an early warning system. It helps both the FDA and the facility understand where issues might exist. Remember, this form is part of the overall inspection process and ties directly into the theme of ensuring compliance and quality in manufacturing. And just to stress again, it's not the final word. It's an observation that requires further review and possible corrective actions. Let's take a closer look at the legal and regulatory basis that underpins our industry standards. We need to be familiar with several key regulations that guide our processes and compliance efforts. First, there's 21 CFR Parts 210 and 211, which cover Drug Current Good Manufacturing Practices, or CGMP. Then, we have 21 CFR Part 820, which applies to medical devices, ensuring quality and safety. Next is 21 CFR Part 11, which focuses on electronic records and signatures, an increasingly important area as we digitalize our operations. Additionally, biologics are governed by 21 CFR Parts 600 through 680, setting standards specific to biologic products. It's also important to note that Form 483 observations from inspections often cite specific sections of these CFR parts, highlighting areas where compliance may be lacking. For example, you might see a citation like, "Failure to establish written procedures for production and process control," which refers to 21 CFR 211.1. Understanding these regulations is crucial, because they form the foundation of our compliance framework and help us ensure product quality and patient safety. Connecting this to our overall theme, being aware of and adhering to these standards not only keeps us compliant, but also supports our commitment to excellence in our industry. When is Form 483 issued? Well, it's important to understand that a Form 483 is not issued in every situation. For example, if the inspection classification is NAI, which stands for No Action Indicated, or VAI, meaning Voluntary Action Indicated, or even OAI, which is Official Action Indicated, a Form 483 might not be issued. However, the circumstances change when significant deviations from good manufacturing practice, or GMP, are observed during the inspection. In those cases, or if data integrity concerns are identified, or if inadequate investigations are noted, or if quality system deficiencies are detected, then a Form 483 is usually issued. It's also worth noting that if no objectionable conditions are found, meaning the inspection falls under the NAI classification, then a Form 483 typically wouldn't be issued. So essentially, the issuance of a Form 483 hinges on what the inspectors observe during their review, especially if they see areas where the company is not meeting regulatory standards. This helps us understand the importance of maintaining compliant practices across all aspects of manufacturing and quality management. Now, let's take a closer look at the structure of an FDA Form 483. Each observation you record will include several key components. First, you'll need a clear description of the condition you've observed. This means explaining exactly what the issue is. Next, you must reference the specific regulatory requirement that relates to this observation. This ties the condition back to the applicable rules or regulations. And finally, it's important to include specific examples of what you observed. These examples help to clarify the issue and support your findings. For example, you might observe a failure to adequately investigate unexplained discrepancies, which is a violation of 21 CFR 211.192. In such cases, investigators can support their observations with additional documentation, like photographs, copies of relevant documents, or interview notes. These materials help to substantiate the observation and provide context. So, when you're preparing your Form 483, remember that including these elements will make your observations clear, well-supported, and aligned with regulatory expectations. Now, let's take a closer look at some of the common categories of 483 observations we see. First, data integrity failures are quite prevalent. This highlights how critical it is to maintain accurate, complete, and reliable data throughout all processes. Then, we often encounter inadequate out-of-specification, or OOS, investigations, which can lead to unresolved issues and potentially compromised product quality. Poor documentation practices are also frequently observed, emphasizing the importance of clear, thorough, and consistent record-keeping. Process validation deficiencies remind us that processes must be properly validated to ensure they consistently produce quality products. An inadequate CAPA system is another common area, underscoring the need for a robust corrective and preventive action process to address issues effectively. We also see failures within the quality unit itself, which can undermine the entire quality system. Lastly, sterility assurance issues remind us how vital it is to maintain strict controls to prevent contamination, especially in sterile products. A key trend to note here is that data integrity continues to be one of the most cited areas in observations. This truly underscores the ongoing importance of safeguarding data accuracy, as it impacts many other aspects of compliance and quality. Connecting all these points, it's clear that addressing these categories proactively is essential for maintaining compliance, ensuring product quality, and ultimately protecting patient safety. Let's take a closer look at some common data integrity observations we encounter. First, there are frequent issues like deleted HPLC chromatograms, which can be problematic because they may hide critical data or distort the record. Sharing system passwords is another concern, as it undermines accountability and traceability. We also see failures to review audit trails regularly, which are essential for ensuring data is unaltered and trustworthy. Additionally, Backdated entries can give a false impression of when data was generated or modified, raising compliance red flags. Now, these issues are not just regulatory breaches. They can directly impact product quality and, ultimately, patient safety. Regulatory references like 21 CFR 211.68 and Part 11 set strict standards for data integrity, emphasizing the need for secure, accurate, and auditable records. From a scientific risk perspective, data manipulation, whether intentional or accidental, can mask defects in the product. This means a compromised data set could hide real quality issues, leading to unsafe or ineffective products reaching patients. So, maintaining data integrity isn't just a regulatory requirement. It's vital for protecting patient health and ensuring trust in our products. Now, let's take a look at some common deficiencies we see during deviation and OOS investigation processes. One major issue is incomplete root cause analysis. This means that investigations often don't go deep enough to identify the true underlying cause of the problem. Without a thorough root cause, it's difficult to implement effective corrective actions. Another frequent problem is invalidated OOS results without proper justification. Sometimes, results are dismissed or invalidated without solid scientific reasoning, which can undermine the integrity of the investigation. We also see repeated deviations without taking preventive actions. This suggests that the root issues are not being addressed, leading to recurring problems that could impact product quality and compliance. Citing the regulation, 21 CFR 211.192 emphasizes the importance of thorough investigations and proper documentation in our quality systems. For example, consider an OOS assay result that is attributed solely to analyst error, without any scientific evidence. This kind of explanation is problematic because it dismisses the investigation's responsibility to identify actual causes and implement meaningful corrective actions. Overall, these deficiencies highlight the need for comprehensive, scientifically sound investigations to ensure compliance and product quality. Let's take a closer look at some common observations in process validation, based on the FDA Process Validation Guidance from 2011. One of the most frequent issues we see is a lack of continued process verification. This means that after the initial validation, some organizations do not consistently monitor or verify that the process remains in control over time. Another key point is inadequate statistical monitoring. Without proper statistical tools, it becomes challenging to detect trends or variations that could impact product quality. This can lead to missing early signs of process drift or failure. A third issue is insufficient documentation of the process design. Proper documentation is critical not only for compliance, but also to ensure that everyone understands how the process is supposed to work and how it can be maintained or improved. For example, a common oversight is not trending critical process parameters, or CPPs, during commercial manufacturing. Trending helps us identify shifts or deviations early so we can intervene before quality is compromised. Overall, these issues highlight the importance of continuous, rigorous monitoring and thorough documentation. They're essential to maintaining control and ensuring consistent product quality throughout the product lifecycle. Let's take a closer look at some common failures within the quality control unit, starting with what the regulations under 21 CFR 211.22 specify. The quality unit is responsible for several critical functions, including reviewing and approving all procedures to ensure they meet regulatory standards. They must also investigate any deviations that occur during manufacturing or testing, and importantly, reject any non-conforming material to prevent substandard products from reaching patients. A typical example we see on Form 483 reports is when a batch is released before completing the investigation of a deviation. This is a serious lapse because it means products are leaving the facility without proper oversight. From a scientific perspective, this kind of failure raises concerns about the independence of quality oversight. When the quality unit's independence is compromised, it can lead to overlooked risks and ultimately impact product integrity and patient safety. So, maintaining strict adherence to these responsibilities is essential to ensure the integrity of the quality system and uphold regulatory compliance. Let's take a look at the different types of inspections we might encounter. First, there's routine surveillance, which is basically a regular check to ensure ongoing compliance. Then, we have for-cause inspections, which happen when there's a specific reason or suspicion that needs to be investigated. Pre-approval inspections are conducted before a product is authorized for market, ensuring everything is in order. And finally, follow-up inspections are used to verify that previous issues have been addressed and corrected. Now, understanding the inspection process leading up to a Form 483 is crucial. It typically starts with either a pre-approval or a routine inspection. During this process, the investigator reviews various elements, including documents, processes, and electronic systems. This thorough review helps ensure that all aspects of compliance are being met. Throughout the inspection, there's a daily discussion of findings, which helps keep everyone aligned and aware of any issues that arise. At the end of the inspection, there's a close-out meeting to summarize the findings. If any violations are identified, a Form 483 is issued, highlighting the observations that need to be addressed. Overall, this process is designed to systematically evaluate compliance and ensure public health protection. It's a critical part of maintaining trust in our regulatory system. When responding to an FDA Form 483, it's crucial to act promptly. The recommended timeframe is within 15 business days, so time is of the essence. Your response should include a thorough root cause analysis to identify the underlying issues that led to the observations. This shows the FDA that you understand the problem at its core. Alongside that, develop a comprehensive CAPA plan, corrective and preventive actions, that clearly outlines how you'll address the root cause and prevent recurrence. Be sure to include a detailed timeline for implementing these actions, so there's a clear schedule in place. And don't forget to provide supporting evidence, documents, records, or data that substantiate your root cause analysis and CAPA plan. By following these steps, you're demonstrating your commitment to compliance and continuous improvement, which is essential for maintaining your quality systems and trust with regulators. Let's take a moment to understand the key difference between a 483 and a warning letter. A 483 is issued at the end of an inspection and highlights observations that the FDA considers as potential areas of concern. It's more like a heads-up, giving us the chance to address issues before they escalate. On the other hand, a warning letter is more serious. It's issued when the FDA determines that there are significant violations that pose a risk to public health. Receiving a warning letter often means that immediate corrective actions are required, and it can lead to more serious regulatory consequences if not addressed promptly. Understanding this distinction is vital because it helps us prioritize our responses and ensure we're not just compliant on paper, but truly meeting the FDA's expectations. It ties into the overall theme of maintaining a strong quality culture. By catching issues early with a 483 and addressing serious concerns swiftly through a warning letter, we can better ensure the safety and efficacy of our products. So to wrap up, let's talk about the importance of FDA Form 483. Essentially, this document documents inspectional observations made during FDA inspections. It serves as a clear signal of potential GMP noncompliance issues. Now, what's critical to understand is that Form 483 places a strong emphasis on data integrity and the overall quality systems within a facility. It's not just a checklist. It requires a scientifically justified response from the company. If the observations are not addressed properly and promptly, this can lead to escalation, meaning more serious regulatory actions might follow. And here's the key takeaway. Form 483 is more than just a regulatory formality. It's actually a scientific indicator of weaknesses within the pharmaceutical quality system. Addressing these weaknesses is essential not only to stay compliant, but to truly protect patient safety. So remember, this document highlights areas that need improvement to ensure the highest standards in pharmaceutical quality. For further support, please feel free to contact us. We're here to help you with any questions or additional information you might need. And with that, I want to sincerely thank you for your time and attention today. It's been a pleasure sharing this information with you, and I hope you found it valuable. Remember, we're just a message or a call away if you need anything moving forward. Thank you once again for your engagement, and have a great day.